What's up, my Fear fans, and welcome back to the ZMAM show as we're checking out Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 10, called Handle with Care. And it was really sad to kind of see where this was kind of going with Daniel in this episode. And I was curious what you guys were thinking about, too, on a side note, just kind of starting off with a question to you guys. What did you think about Daniel's narration as we were leading into this episode and trying to see what had happened to him? Because eventually we start seeing Daniel and he's talking, to someone, kind of us. He even looks at the camera a couple times, but eventually then it kind of peers out and he's behind bars, right? As he's at the dam location, Morgantown, if you will. And, I was reading a couple little just side tidbits of other reviews on Forbes and whatnot and saying how they thought it was kind of just long and just overhaul, just listening to Daniel talk. I thought it was an interesting way to film the episode myself, but kind of just giving us little pieces of information as we moved along, because clearly we had no idea what he was talking about in the beginning. But as we moved on, we finally started getting into it. So tonight's episode, we see a meeting of the minds. We get to see Lauden, we get to see Victor coming in, and Sherry and her mask crew or whatever. Morgan's there, and they're all coming together trying to figure out more about these spray painters, this Doomsday Cult. And obviously Virginia thought that these guys were a big threat, and they're trying to locate them, but they don't really understand where they are. So they come together. We have some interesting people sitting at the table. I mean, Charlie, it's a shame with this show, and I've seen others agree with this. It has so many characters, and very few that we truly give two craps about, right? I mean, no doubt, everyone kind of plays a piece and may speak to us in a different way, so that's why there's a variety of characters, but you have to get them on screen and make it, a reason to have them on screen. Denai Garcia, her character, I mean, we see her just little tidbits here and there. She finally had some talking time tonight. It's amazing. But it wasn't even that much either. It's always pretty much Morgan running the show. We have Grace because she's pregnant, Alicia when she is around, and let's face it, she should probably be the star of the show right now, but somehow she got bypassed, and let's face it, Morgan's character just kind of trumped her over. I don't know. It's very, very interesting choices with the show. But either way, Alicia wasn't even in this episode, mind you. But they're all meeting together. Morgan has laid down some rules. He goes, if you're going to come into our place, which they wanted to because they wanted to talk about this cult and what to do with them, they got to leave their weapons at the gate. And there's no weapons inside. That's the way it goes. And meanwhile, Morgan has to go out on a mission for Grace because it seems Grace is ready to give birth very, very soon. She could be having these real contractions or fake contractions. I forgot the term for it. My wife told me to. Braxton Hill, I think, is the term. It's another term for a fake contraction. There you go. There's your piece of knowledge for the day. And so he's going out to find this baby monitor that apparently he's set up at another place. So off he goes with Rabbi, and they take the big rig MRAP truck. It's supposedly full of gas, but yet in the beginning of the episode, they're like, yeah, we're running on fumes and, things are getting tight, which is another thing, too. This show never seems to run out of gasoline or bullets, it seems. Although in The Walking Dead, they made sure that these things were pretty scarce during most times. I digress. We're moving on with it. But the show definitely needs to start making it seem like resources are getting harder and harder to find. And why is this crew not more prepared with melee weapons and so forth? We finally get to see some more zombie action in this episode as a bomb goes off, almost kind of like a Valkyrie moment where they're trying to take out Hitler and his crew or whatever back in World War II. A bomb goes off near the table where they're all meeting. Luckily, no one gets hurt, but this starts raising major concerns, and Daniel's trying to figure out who set off the bomb and what's going on. So he goes to the weapon shed that's under lock and key, and only him and Morgan have the two keys that can get in there. The lock was undamaged, and every gun is gone. It's just gone. Disappeared, thin air. And so this is raising big time questions. And I gotta be honest, I did not really think in the end, spoilers, here we go, it was Daniel. And his mind was slipping, right? That's what we end up finding by the end of the episode. We're just not sure what's happening with Daniel right now. Maybe it's finally, everything's just come and taken a toll on his weary mind. All those brutal interrogations, killing of people, losing his wife, losing his daughter, all the people he's lost throughout the apocalypse. It's finally just taken its toll on him. But as we're going through the episode, we're trying to figure out who it actually was. So we end up finding it as Daniel in the end. It was shocking. It was surprising. Makes sense why he was behind the bars. I guess maybe some of you might have put two and two together. I was still trying to work it all out myself, to be honest. But yeah, by the end, we see what's going on. And an interesting choice, too, and we'll talk about a few other things that led up to this point at the end. But I want to mention that they chose June to come back, right? Now, June is a nurse, okay? She's not a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. Basically, half the things that she's usually doing, she has very little expertise in. But, I mean, she may have some knowledge. And by the way, I'd rather have at least someone that has some medical training to diagnose me instead of just a random person. But no doubt, and she even said, I need to read up on this. And she even calls it out, so that was good of the show, just to make it seem like she's not the Althea of the group, which is, I'm kind of glad they kind of gave her a break for a while, because she was literally, you name it, she can do it, and that just gets annoying. I don't like superpowered characters that can do that unless we're watching a Marvel movie or something where it makes sense, if it makes sense. Either way, so yeah, we get a chance to see June talking to him, doing a few of the tests. It's so funny. I just watched a movie the other day where they were doing this test and asking the 3 words at the beginning of the conversation, then they do some diagrams or whatever. So clearly that's how it's done. It didn't work. It didn't figure out anything at that point in time. So we'll have to see what's going on with Danielle and if his mind is truly slipping. And as for June, why have her walk off like Billie, Billie, female, walking off into the sunset or whatever with her badass, John's hat on and stuff like that, and after just killing Virginia, just to have her come back, and now, mind you, it seems like it's like the next day. Clearly some time had passed, right? There was more buildings that they were creating, so it could have been another month, could have been 2, but yeah, she just kind of popped back in there, and interesting choice. Kind of made her walk off a little lame. What she'd been up to all this time, or she just kind of been just visiting here and there. She's still taking care of Grace, I guess. So she's there to help out. By the very end of the episode, another interesting choice. Even after this intense scene between Daniel, as he's trying to figure out who has stolen the guns, he pulls a gun. He's ready to do interrogation tactics. He pulls a gun on Victor. He locks him up. He thinks Victor is the one who hid the guns because Victor pulls out a hidden weapon at a crucial point in time and kills off a few zombies that slipped in to the property. Once again, because Daniel let them in. This was his plan to see who had the guns, because someone probably would have went and got one. They didn't want to get killed off. Interesting premise, but Victor ends up pulling one out. Well, it's one that just Victor snuck in. Victor wasn't the one that stole the guns, but Daniel is convinced. He doesn't realize that the enemy is within. It's himself. So he locks Victor up, and after just a few moments and talking, they're kind of going back to olden days. Daniel talks about getting shot in the mouth by Victor, which I totally forgot about. It's amazing over time how much you can forget with these shows and how many episodes there are. But at one point, basically things are at their highest peak and moment. Daniel pulls that gun on Victor. I thought he was just about to shoot him. I mean, it wouldn't seem like they would do so as they've almost killed off 2 main characters in the first few episodes of this season. But he doesn't pull the trigger. He hears a bunch of gunfire, ends up being Morgan, comes back, crucial time, kills all the zombies out in front, and then they start investigating. So, yeah, Daniel's mind is slipping, and like I said, I was going to allude to and say, is that Victor has made an interesting move to invite Daniel to Lawton to hang out, because Daniel basically decided he was going to just go back to the warehouse by himself. It's not safe for Morgan or any of the others. Oh, because we ended up finding out that another piece, that Daniel not being fully there, he was going to send Grace and Charlie to this canyon area for safety while the zombies were attacking. They were supposed to go to this little shack that was in the riverbed or something like that. But it clearly showed on the map, he circled this canyon area, and you could tell he's confused. Charlie and Grace both, confirmed, no, you told us the canyon that hadn't been surveyed. It wasn't even safe, actually. So big time problems. But yeah, Victor, even after all that, after almost getting shot and all this stuff, maybe Victor's finally finding a little bit of compassion in between. I still think he's a dog. He really is. He's just so shady. But he did pull some decent moves tonight, so at least he gets a couple extra mini points in the background. So we'll see where Victor goes in his leadership style. Will him and Alicia ever make amends? It's hard to say. So yeah, it looks like Daniel is going to be going to Lawton to hang out for a while, and the rest of our crew, Dakota makes a mention at the very end of the episode, how timing appropriate. She goes, I think I can help you guys. And he goes, when Virginia was talking about the group being underground, this Doomsday Cult, she thinks maybe she literally meant literally under the ground, like some kind of cavern system or something like that, like Taliban style or something of the sorts. I don't know. But either way, this is the plan, and there's some locations that I guess Dwight and Althea were sighting out at one point. That I guess that was where maybe where they were hanging out. Anyways, these are the places they're going to go check out. I saw a couple of little glimpses from scenes from the next one. Looks like we're going to bring Alicia back into the fold, a few of the characters from tonight as well, as they go to search for this cult, and it looks like they might just find them. And they look creepy as hell. So hopefully these next episodes are the ones that are really going to start up in the ante on this season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead. They're doing a decent job, far better than they did in the past with, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was seasons 3 and 4, or at least 4, if I'm not mistaken. It was pretty ridiculous. But all the same, this is where we are. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. Hope you guys like these little talks that we do. Let me know how you're liking the show right now. Any characters that you're really loving right now? Or are there any that you're really just hating and you want them mixed off as fast as possible? Frankly, after what Dakota did to John, I know in time John will become just a memory, and I'm sure they're going to try and make Dakota part of the group, but should they? I don't think so, but we'll find out and see what happens. Let me know in some comments down below. Let's get a little conversation going. This is Mike with the ZMAM Show, and I will catch you guys at the next review. See you guys.